The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. I am Nick Eatman, and let's talk some Cowboys off-season football. Seems like there's always something happening, always something in the news, whether the Cowboys changing defensive coordinators, and they're bringing in a lot of candidates, I think 6 at this point in the week to interview for Brian Schottenheimer's staff and trying to replace Matt Eberflus, and the playoffs going on, and of course Green Bay losing helps the Cowboys, whether or not you're a fan or not of Green Bay, or probably not the Eagles. So, it's been a pretty good week for most Cowboy fans, depending on how you fan, but wanting a higher draft pick, and that happened. Cowboys are going to pick 20th. We know that, 12 and 20 in the first round. So a pair of top 20 picks, that's a good start it won't be the start of the offseason. There'll be some free agents, but still it's one of the first big things of news that we'll find out. And not having a second and third rounder as it stands right now, you got to do the most with that 12 and 20. But if they want to move those around and move back a little bit and try to add some picks, fine. But I still, for me personally, I'm staying in that first round with 2 picks if possible. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Let's get it started. Irene in Falls Church, Virginia. Irene, what's up?
Hello, Nick.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
So I didn't get a chance to answer the caller who wanted to know how we fan, but today feels like the perfect day because of what you were just talking about. I am a hate watcher, and Hate Watch went undefeated this weekend. Most important, of course, Packers for, the rivalry, but also the draft position. But we still hate them, even without the draft position. So, of course, the Eagles going down was glorious. And then we got historical rivals with the Steelers. We got, even for you on the social media team, we got the Chargers downfall. That was beautiful.
Nice. Yep.
And then next week, I guess we got to get rid of 49ers. And the Texans doesn't feel as big of a rivalry for me, but I know it is down there. So I'll let everyone else talk about defensive coordinators. Just celebrating rivalry today.
All
Bye.
Right. All right, see ya. It's funny how you said that she just hates the Packers. Well, not the only one. Apparently, the head coach of the Bears is not too fond of them either. Hey, it is what it is. Shake hands, Shake hands with the head coach. That's kind of my thing, but whatever. I mean, season's over for one, and it's such a unbelievable game, and it's a great rivalry, I don't understand the pettiness of the millisecond handshake there, but whatever. Hey, he's got his team in there, and they're in the final 8? Is that where we are now? So congrats to them. But also, yeah, that helped the Cowboys for sure to get that game, and to get the Cowboys get where they are at 20, and other rivalries they are what they are, and just to correct Irene, she said it's a big deal down here, Houston. No, not here, not in Dallas. The Texans are not a big deal to Cowboy fans. I mean, they probably ranked 12th or 15th or so in rivalries. Now, Houston, yeah, that's a big deal. That's where the problem is. They have a big deal with the Cowboys, but no, it's not really a big deal here. All right, Brian in Kansas City. What's up, Brian?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good to hear from you.
Hey, thanks, man. I got the warning shot that we had an unusual show again.
Love it.
So, yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love our community, man.
It's the best.
The question I had, you already answered, so I'm going to ask a different one. So it sounds like you want to stay at 12 and 20. I'm kind of hoping they might trade back a little bit from 12, like maybe 10 spots, and pick up a late second or something. But let's go to DC. Do you have a favorite candidate? Of all the people you've heard connected to the Cowboys, do you have a favorite? And I'll give mine. It's
okay.
Brian Flores, and I'll take it off air.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for the call. Now, I don't think there's been one at this point. I don't think there's been an interview set there, if that's the case. I'm talking about of the guys that they've actually interviewed. They interviewed a couple today here on Tuesday. Jim Leonard, I think, is the one that probably intrigues me the most. But of the guys that they've interviewed, White Cotton would have to be, it's easy to say, and I might have said this last week, it's easy to say, well, you were on this staff. This is one of the worst staffs, one of the worst defenses of all time. So you don't get a promotion for that. You don't get to move up here. What did you do you didn't help things or whatever. You could easily say that. But I think you can also look at Schottenheimer and what he did, and he was on the staff, but he was able to kind of, I think he's got the team in a better direction than what it was. Record-wise, not really, but based off of the circumstances and everything, I think so. And so, he was on that staff too. So, but Leonard would probably be the one for me. Now, Brian Flores, if that's a thing, I mean, yeah, that would be interesting. I still think he's going to have a chance to be a head coach, though. So that's kind of where I stand there. But I'd have specific questions on the defense and blitz packages and things like that, and how are you going to generate pressure? Because we heard that was an easy thing to do, and it wasn't. So how do you get pressure, especially when you don't have elite pass rushers, but how do you create that and dial it up? All right, JR in Avondale, Arizona, what's up, man?
Good morning, Nick. How are you today?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing good, doing great. Outside of the Cowboys aren't in the playoffs, but anyway, it was a bummer weekend. But the game last night I watched, that's what I want Dallas to have for a defense, in the part that how physical the Texans were. And you could see it in the players' face for the Steelers. They were just physically beat, and obviously the defense took the game over because the offense couldn't do anything. Defense won the game. And my question to you would be, the candidates we're talking about, which one of those candidates gives us a best chance at building a defense over the next couple of years that's going to be physical and just take the other team's, will to play away? Because you saw it in Rodgers' face last night, and it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown, and that's what I want for the Cowboys. So I'll hang up and listen to what you think, but have a great day. Yeah. Go Cowboys.
Thanks. I appreciate the call, but, I can't get over the fact that we're talking about two really, really good pass rushers with Houston. I mean, from a duo standpoint, you can say Parsons and Rashawn Gary, but, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are even better, I think, as a duo. I think Micah would be the best over all of them. But, I mean, from a 1-2 punch, you could do a lot. And I always think of Freeney and Mathis at the Colts. Mathis maybe wasn't the most premier pass rusher, but he sure did get some help with the guy on the other side. And I think when you have that kind of the pressure off the edge, then you can make a lot of coordinators good. So, like you said, I mean, a tough take the will type guy. I mean, to me, it still starts with the players, but you want to put them in schemes. And that's why I think Flores, you look at who Minnesota has or doesn't have, they have some exotic schemes that they were blitzing and always, really making it tough on the quarterback. And they're doing it with guys that aren't, regularly going to the Pro Bowl. So I think that's a real big key there. Let's go to break here. When I come back, I do want to answer Brian in Kansas City's question. He was talking about the draft picks. I want to clarify kind of my stance on that. But we'll go to break real quick on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's Best Shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Alltech Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alltechlansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Alltech Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline presented by Gillette. In the first segment, Brian from Kansas City was asking about, he said, looks like you want to stay at 12 and 20. I want to stay in the first round for sure. 2 first-round picks in the first round. Not looking to move 20 and get, a second and a third and a fifth and all that. Nah, I want to keep my 2 fifth-year option type picks. So I'm fine at 12 if you're like sitting there and there's 4 guys that you love and you're like, man, I'll take any of these 4 guys, and we're, you're on the clock, and then someone calls and says, man, we'll give you 15 and we'll give you a third. You just move back a little bit, but we got to have this guy right here at 12, and you move back, and knowing that you're going to get the guys you want, you don't have to do too much, then I'm for that. I'm okay with that, but I don't desperately have to have a second and third round pick until they prove that they're going to do some damage with these second and third round picks, and they really haven't. They haven't. These guys haven't been that much of a difference maker. There's a couple exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, no. And where you go with the first round, that's where you're good at, and for the most part, and I would stay there if possible. All right, Mike in Birmingham, England. Mike, what's up?
Hey, Nick. Good to speak to you. Good to have an extra show. That feels like a victory for the people. So thank you, Derek, for letting that happen. Couple of quick things. First of all, a big thank you, Nick, to you and Chris and the Storyline community. I've said it before, but over here, everyone will talk about soccer all day long. My dog will talk to me about soccer, but I'm a bit thin on the ground for people to talk Cowboys to. So the show and the community is a lifeline. So thank you for talking us through another season and listening to our rants and complaining. The other thing is, we spoke earlier in the season after the tie, which I know one thing about getting to the end of the season, at least you don't have to think about our record having that 1 on the end of it anymore. But right. I said to you at the time that the precedents were that 9-7-1 gets in. And so we knew what we had to do. And then as the NFC unfolded, it looked like that was going to be unlikely. Well, guess what? Green Bay got in at 9-7-1. So the lesson to take forward is just take care of business against teams that you should be beating. If we'd just beaten the Cardinals and if we'd just beaten the Giants on the last day, then we're 9-7-1, tied with the Packers maybe in the playoffs. So we weren't a million miles away, and I really think that we're close. If we get the draft right, if we get free agency right, we are not far off, and if we get the coaches right. So I'll leave that with you. Thanks again for everything, and speak soon, hopefully.
All right. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I've always said this. I've learned this over the years. If you're going to do that, and you're going to say, if you would have won that game and would have won that game, then what your record would be. I think it's only fair to make sure and say, all right, there's always 2 or 3 games where you're like, they should have won that game. Why did the Cowboys lose that game? And Philly, to start the year was a close one. I think Carolina was very close. Arizona, you weren't really in the game, but you just felt like they weren't very good. You should have been in the game. The Giants maybe at the end. Of course, that game was kind of weird the way it was played out. Maybe Minnesota too. But you've got a handful of games too. Like you could have easily lost to the Giants in week 2. You could have lost to Green Bay. They're Philly, Kansas City. Washington was close too. So I think it was kind of even. In fact, it might be a little bit more of the games that you could have lost that you didn't than the ones that you didn't win that you could have. And so if that makes sense, I just think it kind of evens itself out. Yes, the Cowboys are close to getting there. They're also close to being, maybe 5-11-1 and picking 8th or 9th overall. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it can go either way. And like you said, Mike, you got to get this right. You got to get this offseason right. Because if you don't, you're not that far from being even worse. Yeah, and we're all looking forward and we're all thinking positive and all that. But this is a tough league. And so if you don't take care of business here and you don't get these things done right, then you could be going the other way. So that's how important I think this offseason and this draft is. All right, let's go to Sergeant Sue in Fort Worth.
At ease, everybody. How you doing, Nick?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, this isn't directly Cowboys related, but it's a superstar NFL coach that actually just stepped down, Mike Tomlin. It was reported by a couple of the juggernauts around the league and then retweeted by No C. So I just wanted to say that. That way, I don't know, some people, I doubt he said that he wanted to step down and not, coach. But I think that, when a big name like that is out there, some people can play around with like, oh, what if he came? You know what I mean? So I thought I'd throw that out there. The question that I had really quick for you, though, is Hunter Lipke is a guy who I've always felt, and I've said this before, that gives you an opportunity for, like, roster manipulation. Mm-hmm. I think that, obviously, he's a fullback, but I do think that from the little bit of time that I saw him, I thought he could be a pretty decent tight end. And I think that that's something that, since we're in off-season mode, that you can kind of play with. That kind of helps open up a roster spot, you know what I mean? What do you think about that? And that's all I really have, brother. Yeah. Have a good day.
Thanks. It's the reason why I call him Thanksgiving. Because he's got a full plate. They just keep adding stuff to his plate, and he it's never enough. And he can do a little bit of everything. Roster manipulation is a good way of saying it. He's a Swiss Army knife, however you want to call it. But you get in a game, and heaven forbid you lose 2 tight ends to injury. Well, Hunter Lipke can help you finish the game. Or if you lost some running backs, Lipke can help you finish the game. He's going to help you on special teams. He's going to be a fullback too. That's what he is. He can be a fullback. He can be a good third down back. He can block for Dak. In pass protection, he can run it on 4th and 1. I know he got stopped. That was a great play in one of those games. Chargers, I guess. They just made a great play. But it didn't happen a lot last year. Guys getting stopped for no gain or losses. But he can do so many things that having him on the roster is almost like having multiple guys, and that's why they signed him in the offseason, and they really wanted to make sure that he stuck around because he's got a good role, and maybe it just continues to expand as his game evolves and as he kind of gets a little better understanding of the offense and as they get a better understanding of him. All right, let's go back to the phone lines are open as we stand right now. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. Let's continue here before we go to break. I do want to kind of talk about what we've got ahead of us here and what's going to happen. Free agency, obviously, you guys know that it goes first. I think it's March 11th. It's the first day of free agency, and some of the big things are going to happen before that. It's weird how it kind of flips back and forth. It's free agencies first, but draft and the prep for draft is even before that. We're going to have the Senior Bowl here before too long. East-West Shrine Game happens here in Frisco, so you'll get to see some players. It sounds like they've stepped up some guys there as far as who's going to be at the Shrine Bowl. Still, the Senior Bowl is a little bit bigger. Not always a ton of first round picks there. There's a lot of second and third, fourth rounders. So we'll see. what that is for, what that is for the Cowboys, but there'll be some guys that'll be there that'll be potential late first rounders, which will be right there in the Cowboys wheelhouse. That's at the Senior Bowl, and then the Combine is at the end of February. Of course, all the big names will be there, and we'll have some great coverage for you as well. Schottenheimer will be there. He'll get a chance to talk to the media. Probably be the first time he talks since whatever he says at the Senior Bowl, and the same for Jerry. So those are always good moments to kind of follow them and see, where things stand in the offseason mode for the Cowboys as we get really closer to free agency. And I don't know, maybe it's not right, but I just have this feeling the Cowboys might be doing a little bit more in free agency than what we've seen in the past. All right, let's go to a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline. Presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. I got a chance here to talk for about 20, 30 minutes. This is no longer taping the TV show at this moment, so we had to get those segments out of the way. That's the last show we're going to do this year. So we'll be back at our normal schedule tomorrow at 9:30 Central Time, and it will go to about 10:50 or so. So we get a little bit extra than we normally do, 30 more minutes or so, and we'll be able to get after it and talk more. But we still got about 20, 30 minutes here today. We can talk. So I got an interesting question here. This is thinking outside the box a little bit, but it's something that you should do and the Cowboys should be doing. Kyle from Sarasota, Florida, he had a text line question. He said, would you consider trading your late first-round pick this year for a second this year and a first next year? Very heavy quarterback draft in 2027. Your first thought is, this is Dak's window, and let's try to give him everything you can. And that's what you did. You traded Micah so you could have these first-round picks, and you've already traded one of the picks away, for next year for Quinnen Williams. And so you want to be able to kind of take advantage of it here at some point. So my first thought is, no, I don't think I would do that. But it's not a bad thought. I think the main reason why I wouldn't is because you don't have a lot in your second and your third. You don't have anything for second and third this year. So if you're going to do that now, you would trade, and you like this scenario says gets a second rounder, but those aren't really guarantees. Nothing's a guarantee. But I just kind of think, let's see what they do in free agency, because if they kind of go for a little bit of some splashy moves here and they re-sign Pickens and maybe they add a few more pieces to the puzzle, then I probably would stand in there and get 2 picks and try to help this team right now, because those are the players that are going to probably help you. I mean, Tyler Booker helped you this year. I mean, he's a really good player, and I think you have a shot to have difference makers right off the bat when you get them here. So as much as I think that's a very intriguing question and probably something that they're thinking about. I don't know if I would necessarily do that, but it certainly wouldn't be off the table, because I know Jerry thinks that way. Jerry always, I've heard Jerry say this before. Don't turn in the card. They'll be sitting there, and they're like, we're taking this guy. We're going to take him, whoever it is. Leighton Vander Esch, we're taking him. Or, I don't know why I said his name, but I'm just trying to think of a mid-round, first round, probably Zach Martin or anybody. Don't turn in the card just yet. Jerry has said that because you never know if somebody calls you and tries to offer you next year's one. And so next year's one is a valuable pick that teams, especially the Cowboys, really covet. So they would entertain that. And it doesn't have to be for a quarterback. It could just be for, because one thing we're finding out, if you're in a draft and say you've got a good young quarterback and you're not going to take one, you want there to be a ton of quarterbacks. The Chicago Bears and they have, and the Patriots, they got young quarterbacks. They want next year's draft to be filled with quarterbacks because the more quarterbacks that go, the more the other players fall down to them. Same with the Cowboys here. You want 3 or 4 guys. You want someone to just light up his pro day, jump into that top 10. So that just drops another player right in your lap. All right, Michael in Bowling Green is next. Michael, what's up?
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man?
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I was on texting and I saw that somebody told me we were having the show, so I got on.
Thank you.
That idea about the trading, that doesn't sound bad, but I've heard in some mock drafts talking about the Cowboys dropping back to 25 with their 20th pick and then picking up maybe a third and probably still getting the same type of player. What would you think? Would you be opposed to that?
No, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You got to remember, nobody knows their board better than the Cowboys, better than their team, and so they're going to have things that are really surprising to them. And if they're sitting there with some first round grades that maybe more than 2 or 3, and then they have a chance to move back and then get another pick. It's not like I hate the third round or the second round. I'm just saying I don't like it as much as the first round. So I would definitely not. It'd have to be the right decision and the right feeling there, and you have to wait until you get on the board because it happened a few years ago. The Cowboys, they liked what they saw. They liked how the board was falling to them. I think Graham Barton was a guy that they liked at center, but they saw Tyler Guyton and then value to slide down and pick up a third, which they ended up getting Cooper Beebe. And I bet you they would probably say that that they still like that move of Beebe and Guyton. Now Guyton still needs to develop more, but as does Beebe. But it's probably the 2-for-1 is probably better. So if it works that way, but if you're sitting there, let's just say this, and I know we always bring this scenario up, but it's worth mentioning. If in 2020, if the Cowboys had the same situation, and all of a sudden the phone's ringing, and they're like, "Hey, we really want your pick, and you slide down here to 25." And the Cowboys are, I think, at 17 or whatever, and they're like, "You slide down 4, 5, 6 spots, and we'll give you a third." And you're like, "Okay, sounds good." Well, let's wait and see who's here because there's this receiver from Oklahoma named CeeDee Lamb that keeps dropping, and if he drops, we don't even want a receiver, but we might have to take this guy. And so we're going to stand in here and pick. I bet you there were teams that were on the phone that were like, "We got to go get CeeDee Lamb." And the Cowboys were like, "Yeah, you do, but too bad you didn't because now we've got him." And I think the Cowboys still think about that and still think about, well, don't pigeonhole us into taking defense just yet because if a can't-miss offensive player is here, then it would make too much sense for us not to do that. So, all right, Dylan in Northport, Florida, what's up?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys for joining the space together. That was a blast. To have 3 of you guys on there. That was so cool.
Yeah, we had a good time. That was, Thursday? Y'all do this every Thursday night, right?
Thursday nights at 8 Eastern, so 7 your time. Go for a few hours. And every now and then we get you and some other guests on there.
Tommy Yarsh was in there throwing some draft knowledge around, and Chris Beam got in there. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got in there and turned his mic on and everything, and it was good. It was
you guys got to go play some Fortnite.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, it's not an easy thing what you do. Like you're like the host, but the moderator, right? My Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know how you.
Yeah.
I mean, like everyone's got their hand raised. Everyone's trying to talk. You're trying to corral Rob from Vegas, tell him to calm down. Like, man.
It's funny. I listened back to it, and I'm like, damn, my mic's really low, dude. I have a really nice – I use the same mic you guys have in the studio, but my setup is a little different, and my mic the volume is so low. I figured out the problem. I just spent $250 on a new unit to make it louder, specifically for the spaces, so I can be louder than everybody else.
You're not going to send us a bill, are you?
We'll see. Keep an eye out on the mail. No, but before you guys got on, though, the space, we had a kind of an interesting discussion, and me and Rob kind of got a little passionate, which we're known to do. And we had a discussion about trading your picks away for a specific player. We'll just say it's a really high-end edge. I'm sure you know who it is.
Yeah.
This guy.
Somebody with max potential.
Maximum potential, 2 X's. And it would be pick 12 and Osa, or your first pick, one or the other. And Rob was in favor of that. And I can kind of swallow the pick and Osa, but it's really hard for me to justify the 2 picks because you're not picking at all until the 3rd day at that point. That's tough.
Right.
And I'd hate to be in a spot in the draft where, I don't know if you know the names, like Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, C.J. Allen. I'd hate to be in a spot where you could have gotten somebody like Caleb Downs and C.J. Allen for your first 2 picks. Okay, that transforms, obviously, your whole defense, not just for the next couple of years, but for the foreseeable future.
Right.
5 years, if not more, since that's an option. I just wanted to get kind of your thoughts on trading out and getting maybe rid of both of your picks for that one really, really, really good player who really does make a difference, or, kind of sticking around, or, trading the pick and Osa, or sticking around and hoping the draft falls your way. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to. All right, man. Thanks for the call, Dylan. As always, kind of thinking the next level stuff. At some point, to make it work with the salary cap, I mean, you're going to have to win. You have to get talent that's not, killing your cap, and so you do that by drafting well, and those guys are difference makers early on, and they're cheap, and so. If you just keep trading picks all the time for contracts, because that's what you're doing. You're trading for contract. Yeah, you're trading for talent, but you're also trading contracts. And I think there's some that are going to argue and say, well, I don't really care about let's just go win this year and all that. But it can crucify your team and your future, and you've got to, you're obligated to make sure that you can field the team, the next few years as well. So you have to be smart about that. I don't know if I'm okay with 2 picks for one, because that's basically what a franchise player is. So, I mean, are you getting that? I mean, it's not the pass rusher with the Raiders. I mean, it's a different pass rusher or a different skill player. Or it's one that's under the age of 30 and also made 3 or 4 Pro Bowl. I mean, that's a different guy. 2 picks for one guy or whatever it is. I'm okay with entertaining the trade offer, but with 2 picks in the first round, I think I'm leaning towards standing in there and making 2 good picks, and because you need so much, you can still get good value. You can get value at linebacker at 20. You're going to get one of the better ones, or safety. Maybe you saw it with Booker. You got the best guard. I mean, 12. Was that a sexy pick? I mean, who cares? It was a really good pick at 12. So there's a lot of options, and free agency is going to tell you kind of what happens. But I still think that I'm okay maybe with one big trade, but I definitely got to make one of those 2 picks this year, if not both of them. All right, Chris, Saratoga Springs, New York. Chris, what's up?
Not much, Nick. Been a minute since I talked. Just want to wish you a happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
I'm real excited about all this draft talk. This is my favorite time of year, so I'm pretty excited about that. I would like to stand pat with both of those picks. If I was able to move one of them, maybe, like you said a little bit earlier, move back a couple spots and we get the same guy, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But we need so much help on defense that I think, and we do very well for the most part, with our first-round pick. So I think we should definitely stay pat and keep those two number ones. As far as the defensive coordinator, have you heard anything about bringing in Flores, or do you think Flores is looking more for a head coaching opportunity?
Well, yeah, I would think he's definitely looking at head coaching opportunities. His name has been linked here a lot, but that's not uncommon for anybody, any player, any coach, anything that's open. It always seems to be linked to the Cowboys first.
Yeah.
So that's normal. But like I said earlier in the show, if it worked out, I would be fine with that. I just thought he really did a nice job with and I'm not saying they don't have any players, but it just doesn't seem like we're talking about a bunch of all pros or anything like that. I mean, and I think it's more of a scheme thing. So you got some talented guys here, not a ton, but you've got some that you can build around, and you get a good scheme with the group that's here. Then I think this team can win, especially when you add it to the fact that they've got Pro Bowl players on special teams, and then they've got a really, really good offense. So we've said it all year long. We don't need to see an awesome defense. If you just had an average defense, this team would have been in the playoffs. And so that's and I'm not saying that's the goal, but I'm saying when you have you do have one really, really good part of your game and another that's pretty good too on special teams, then get there, at least get mediocre at defense. Just get off the field every now and again. Get a turnover. They had 6 interceptions last year. That's the tied for the worst in franchise history. 6. So
yeah, what we could use maybe somebody like a Darren Woodson in the back. So just want to throw that out there. All the thoughts and prayers go out to him, hopefully making the Hall of Fame this year. But we could use somebody like him in that back end of our defense.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Are you saying to play or to coach?
Oh no, I mean we need both really. I love him to be a coach, but we need somebody like him in that back end.
Yeah.
I mean we're really hurting on that back end, and he was one of the best we've ever had. And again, I just hope and pray he makes it this year. It'd be great to him to go in with Witten at the same time. And I'm pulling for him. Nobody deserves it more. Class act through and through. I mean, leading tackler in the Cowboys. Everything. 3 Super Bowl wins. I mean, the accolades are off the charts of what he has done. And I really hope this year is the year for him.
Yeah, me too. Me too, Chris. I mean, I couldn't echo that enough. Thanks for the call, and you're right about that. Just unbelievable, and top of the line, phenomenal, everything you could think of to describe him. And then we can talk about him as a football player. And those two, to me, they do go hand in hand. I'm not saying every guy in the Hall of Fame is a Boy Scout, but Darren Woodson's not just that. He is deserving because he was a badass football player. But when you add both those things together, I need to save all what I'm trying to say, because you're going to hear it again, because I think he's getting in. I do. I think he's getting in this year. And, man, I hope I'm front row seat to be there. Nobody, like you said, nobody deserves it more. I can't wait for that moment. And if Witten's in there too, if I'm not a betting man or anything like that, but if I had to, I would say it's going to be Witten this year. I'm sorry, Woodson this year, Witten maybe next year. But I'll take them both. Let's be greedy. Let's go to Canton, right, Chris? Let's go to Canton. Let's get a couple more callers in. Let's go Travis. He's in Michigan, usually San Antonio. But Travis, what's up, man? Traveling?
Nick, what's going on? Yeah, still visiting family from when I called you driving up last time, so I'm able to work from home, so I'm just going to do an extended stay. But
cool.
Shout out to what the last caller was talking about. Shout out to Woody. Hopefully he does get in way too long to have not been in. Super deserving, obviously, like everything you just said. That would be awesome. Like I said, hopefully we get that. Well, I know you said it's guaranteed we'll probably get that game if he does. But so that's cool. And then I also wanted to add some context. I heard Dylan's call, and also shout out to Irene because she sent a text out. I've been kind of letting some other people get in, Dick, which I know you like, so we can expand some callers. But she sent a text out saying, "Hey, the lines are open." So I was like, "All right,
she's
I'll
awesome.
call him."
I mean, she's the mother of the show. I mean, she really does. I know she sent out texts like, hey, different schedule and all that stuff.
Yep.
She just keeps everybody in line. You got to have an organized person like that, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a lot of things. Organized usually isn't one of them. But you got to have someone that is, and I bet you if there was like a trip, there was a trip. There was a trip out to California. I bet you she planned the whole damn thing. So her and Dylan both, I bet you guys like Rob are like, just tell me where to go and when to be there. But you got to have people like that, and Irene is definitely that.
Yep, and then also same thing that Dylan said before I get to my point. Shout out to you guys for jumping on the call with us. It was cool, and then also I was really surprised Foot's jumping on there, who does a lot of draft stuff and following. Like I said, everyone loves your show, obviously, but I always try to spread the love. And if you guys want a really good show to follow, it's the Cowboys Collective on there on YouTube.
Right.
So check that out. But on Dylan's point, I know we were talking about this in the spaces, Nick, about trying to maybe have a topic. I'm going to pivot and talk about why I am actually kind of in favor of 12 and let's say an Osa for I'm not going to say his name, but for that player. Just because the way if we're flushing this idea out, right, which is what I always do, I try to think of it not just in the snap, let's just do it. Supposedly, and maybe you can confirm this, but I know it sounded like Osa, there was kind of a lot of people. I was more on not giving him the contract, nothing against him. It's just I just wanted to go in a different direction personally just because of the run defense that we're having issues with. That's not necessarily his best bag, and it sounded like he was kind of out the door until Eberflus kind of pushed to get him signed. So I think for the Raiders for their part of it, it kind of makes sense to get an above-average defensive tackle to replace Christian Wilkins, who they lost last year from weird circumstances. They also get the 12th pick, and I would not give up 2 firsts, Nick. Definitely not on board with that. But I think 12 and Osa for a team that's really kind of rebuilding might get it done. And honestly, Nick, the only player that I would be, if I'm saying buyer's remorse from it, that I would be disappointed if he was there at 12 would be Caleb. But if you talk to most people, we really don't think the chances are he's not going to be there. And then lastly, I want to see what you think. The reason I'm in favor, Nick, is the draft is all about mitigating risk, right? With those 2 first-round picks, I think we would all agree if they stand and pick those 2 picks, right, they cannot miss. They have to be players for this defense, right? So when I think about mitigating risk, I'm like, the reason I'm in favor of 12 and Osa, just as a hypothetical, is what's a better way to mitigate any kind of risk and help a unit that you've been championing is like, we have to fix that front. I mean, it would be him, right? Because I know what he is. I know what he can do. So that's the only reason, I'm on favor of that. I just want to see what you think about it. But like I said, it's about mitigating risk for me. Oh, and then lastly, if you trade Osa, right, you have guys you couldn't get on the field last year in Perry and Winfrey behind him and Solomon. So I think they would be okay from a depth perspective. So I just want to see what you thought.
Yeah, I haven't looked that closely into that scenario and to see, usually when you sign a guy to a contract like that, it's gonna be hard to get out of it, and so I don't know what that number is, but that ain't gonna be friendly to your cap, to get rid of a player after 1 year with a lot of guarantees, and I'm sure he didn't count as much. I'm sure he didn't count $20 million a year last year. So that I'd have to look at that. I mean, so if you go to those websites, a Spotrac and overthecap.com and things like that, type in Osa's name and see what the dead money looks like and what happens if you release him. And it wouldn't be June 1. It would be because it'd be a trade, and so if you traded him, all that money comes to the front. So be careful with what that looks like, because that's going to eat up a lot of your cap room too. But as far as if it does work out money wise, I understand that that's a position of depth, and so it's easy to say that. That just seems a little rich, a 12th pick and a good young player at defensive tackle for a pass rusher, an aging pass rusher that's having surgery. I mean, I don't know if you have to. I don't know if it has to be 12. I mean, I don't know if it. I mean, a player and 12 seems a little rich to me to do that. I don't know if I would go that route, honestly. And I understand you were saying about the risk, but Alvin Harper was a pretty good player, especially for what they had. Micah Parsons was a really good player, and I think Tyler Booker is going to be a really good player too. So stand in there at 12 and get a really good player. Because I think that's probably your best thing. Then after that, see what people are looking to do in the next 8 picks or so. That's the one I think if you're going to move, I think maybe I would do that one. All right, let's go. IMA in Napa, California.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good.
Happy New Year.
How are you
doing?
doing?
You been?
Good. You?
I'm great, man. I'm great. The season's changing here in Napa, starting to trim back the vines and everything. So, it's time for changes and the draft coming up. So it's like all the things fall in line. That's how I just kind of correlate everything, the seasons with football. Man, I was just listening to the show, and I've kind of just been listening and not really calling in or anything. Just kind of getting a gauge on everybody's feelings and stuff, and then I for sure wanted to let the season kind of finish before I really jumped into like what we do in the off season, who stays, who doesn't, all of that stuff. But it's a little surprising, a little alarming that there's so much desire to want to trade the picks, and I feel like Jerry, Steven, they were pretty clear in their press conference last week that it's like it just gives them so much more flexibility to re-sign players and for cap space and stuff like that. Like just kind of relieving that big move of moving Micah. Just kind of gave us this relief and this opportunity to do different things. And I say we explore those things, man. Jerry's a big swinger, whether he misses or hits, he's a big swinger, man. And, I'm down for it. I say we just stick with what we did, and see it out. Like those have to be picks. It has to be a linebacker. Has to be a safety, but I feel like linebacker and safety are our biggest needs. Definitely a pass rusher too, but I don't think we're going to find somebody at 12. Maybe somebody drops, like you said, if some more quarterbacks get into the mix. But Downs, Styles, love to have both of them. Take one of them. Again, just retain some of our own talent. I really feel like I know hear what you're saying as far as like the offense and stuff. If there's a player that you can't pass, then yeah, you obviously take them offensively. But man, it just feels like we're in such a good place offensively. And like you've been saying all season, how I've been thinking all season, we just need a few stops here and there. We get a couple stops in 3 different games, we win those games. We win in Carolina, we win in Chicago, and that makes a difference, and man, I'm out here in the Bay Area and I'm watching this depleted 49ers team, and I'm not trying to get on their bandwagon because I hate them, but it's interesting to just see how they piece together their defense and they just get a stop here and there, and they're able to win games. And that's what they did against Philly. Like Philly kind of gave them that game, but that's what they did. And I just feel like how you've been saying, man, we need a couple players to make a few plays on defense, which will change the outcome of the game because our offense is so good. But if we start messing with our offense, we should build on where we're at.
Yeah.
Schottenheimer, this is his first year. Let's build on what we did offensively, and let's get some pieces in defensively, and we'll get this thing going.
All right.
I mean, I'll be calling. I'll be calling all off season to talk more, man.
All right. Well, thank you for the call.
We got to kick with our picks. Right. Linebacker, Nick. I know you know it.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. I mean, you say linebacker, safety. That's probably third and fourth on my list of defensive guys. I mean, I think corner and pass rusher. But I'm all about value. I'm about value, and I think you have a chance to get the best safety maybe, or the best linebacker. And so you're going to have first round grades, and I think that would be the biggest win in the whole draft would be if the Cowboys stick to their board and have first round grades. If they get 2 guys legitimately that are on their board with first round grades, that will be a win. And I say legitimately, it's been known to change a few things here and there and say, oh yeah, we had a first round grade on him or whatever. If they get two guys from their first-round grades at 12 and 20, that would be amazing. You usually only have about 15, 16, maybe 17 first-round grades. And so, if that's the case, you might get them both, if you pick at 12 and 20. But, something that I may said about, I've been saying this about getting stops. Just think about this. Think about when you kick off, the other team gets the ball, 25-yard line, 35-yard line, whatever. And, they get a few first downs, and then they get to midfield and they're punting. Okay, and you finally get them off the field, even at that, which would be a win. But Turpin's standing at his 15-yard line, 10-yard line probably, and he's going to fair catch it maybe twice. Maybe a real fair catch or maybe a fake fair catch or whatever. Or a ball's going to bounce over his head or whatever it is. But he's not going to probably get a return. You get a stop back at, instead of a couple first downs, get a stop back there at the other 30-yard line. Now Turpin's standing at his 25, and he's probably going to return it. And so now he's got some room to run and all that. Think about how different that is. We're just talking about one stop, one third down conversion here, but it changed the fact that Turpin now gets to be a weapon. Now you got to make a decision. We really want to outkick the coverage and kick it to him and let him run free and do all his things? Or do we just want to, pooch it up and let him do a fair catch and we'll get it at the 35, 40-yard line, whatever. But that's the difference between one first down and getting to midfield and punting. And believe me, there's games when they get to midfield and punt, that was a win. So that didn't happen a lot either. But I'm just saying, you get more stops on that side of the field and punt to your weapons and get your offense in good shape and do things like that, then, now you can kind of play downhill a little bit. All right, let's go to Ali. Ali, what's up, man? Where are you?
Happy New Year, buddy.
You too. What are you doing?
Irene is the best.
Okay.
Because I just got a text from her, and she gave me a heads up that the podcast was on right now.
Okay.
I am currently in northwestern Norway. Take a group of people photographing the northern lights.
Oh, my God.
Right now, in front of me, I'm going to text you a picture to Chris, then take a look at it. The sky is all neon green, and it's a breathtaking. It's a little island called Loften, Lotofen, Loften Island. But the best news is, I'll make it fast because I know I'll probably get disconnected. I heard Green Bay lost the way they lost. I love that. That's the best Christmas present. And then I heard Eagle lost. That's second Christmas present. And now I'm happy for the draft. I don't need any more presents for this year. I want to wish you and Chris best of the best, brother. And I'm so happy you have your podcast. And I've been trying to be there, make a silly phone calls from everywhere. I wish I could take all of you and all the podcast storyliners here, and you can see this beautiful thing God created.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you.
All right.
And I miss you.
Love you too, man. There's got to be some irony there, right? I mean, he's looking at the northern lights in Norway, and the sky is green, and he said the best thing that happened was the Packers and the Eagles lost, and there's some green that I guess went up in smoke. I don't know how to use that analogy, but what an awesome view. I've only seen photos of that in the Northern Lights. I can't even imagine what that would look like. But I know this, that there's somebody that's good. They got the right person there to take the photos, because nobody takes better photos than Ali. And man, I bet you he's going to have some really good ones there. All right, let's go to Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia. Sebastian, what's up, man?
Good morning, Mr. Eatman. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Everything's slow motion. So listen here, Mr. Eatman. I'm going to get right to it because I know you guys are closing out shortly. The football season's over. Whatever we're about to do with this defensive coordinator, I just want to get him in the building, because for the next 60 days, because there's 100 days to the draft, for 60 of those days, I want them diving into the old tapes of Deron Bland, Caleb Carson, and our cornerback situation so that we can know exactly what he needs for his defense going forward. And I want to build a much better defense. As far as the draft goes, with the first pick, number 12, you can pretty much talk me into any type of player except for a lineman. I want to see a lineman at 12. For offense, I should say offensive lineman. As far as 20 goes, you can do whatever you want to do with the 20th pick. It's a really great place to get a wide receiver, though. So if we're not going to do the GP thing or we're going to drag it out and have some dramatic type of thing, I'd rather just get one from the draft. I look at players like Emeka Ibuka and Hetero McMillan. They were phenomenal for their team this year, and they were rookies. So with that, I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah.
I did have one question.
Yeah.
What does, because I hear it all the time, window dressing the board mean when it comes to the draft? And you might have to ask somebody like Brian for that, but you have a good day.
All right. Window dressing the board. I mean, to me, it's all about. I mean, there's different people that have terms with that, but it's about putting. I always was told that it was about putting guys up on the board, and Chris might know this too. But putting guys on the board that you're really not going to take. And having options up there, having guys up there, your quarterbacks and things like that, putting them up there, but you're not necessarily going to take them. That was my understanding of that, but I mean there could be different takes to that. But as far as 12 and 20, you say that about offensive tackle. I mean, I could be talking to anything. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Steele, what's going to happen with him. Is Guyton moving to right tackle? I don't know what they're going to do. But if you're sitting there, and I just remember the year that Micah was picked. I mean, it was a 50-50 debate. Some of them wanted Rashawn Slater, out of Northwestern. And so that was one of those can't miss guys. I know he's battled some injuries, but you're just going to have a chance to get a really good player. You got to take defense. I mean, you do, but if the right pick is there at 12, then let's don't avoid that either. But I think with so many needs on defense, I can't imagine it not being that. All right, let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. We just got an opportunity here for just a few more minutes to kind of close this show out. But we've talked a lot about great players and do you want to pick at 12 and 20? Do you want to move back and all these things? What you want is you want superstar players and you want guys that can make a difference right away. The Cowboys have some of that, but when you look at the All-Pro team just came out this last week and 3 guys were on it for the second team. No first teamers this year, just 3 second team, and 2 of them on special teams. Brandon Aubrey and Cavante Turpin. It was a little bit of a surprise that Turpin made it. And obviously George Pickens was a second teamer, which he didn't like that. He put that on Twitter. He thought he should have been one of the 3 receivers. I don't know if I disagree that Puko's fine and Jackson Smith and Jigba fine, but I thought he had a better year than Jamar Chase, but that is what it is. But those are the kind of players that you're looking for. You want difference makers and you want more guys there on on the first team, all pros and things like that. Now Pickens was there, Aubrey, Dak, Quentin Williams. Those are guys that made the Pro Bowl. The Cowboys had a handful of guys there that made the Pro Bowl. I know I'm missing someone as well that made it, but still you want to have those kind of guys, and that's what you're looking for. At the end of the day, you're looking for difference makers, and the Cowboys certainly need to do that. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. We do it every Wednesday, 9:30 Central. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next time on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!